Hola Bandidos, welcome to Mel's Magic. This is episode 1 of season 3. Can you imagine? Welcome. Um, yes, we decided, as you know, at the end of season 2 that we would go back to focusing our videos on the central theme of this transformative and spiritual journey out of depression into our integrity, which is actually the topic of today. And if you followed me over season 1 and season 2, I started with maybe rather austere videos and then went super overboard into full-blown tarot and oracle card readings. And I guess I'm finding my medium, and I've decided to anchor each video in perhaps one card instead of going all out into 20 cards. So the card I pulled from the Wild Unknown Tarot, which I really love because it's a little bit mysterious and dark, is the Justice card. I actually love how the light over the window is throwing in a bit of a rainbow. Can you see that also here? Well, it's been reversed. It fits with the Justice card. And I pulled the card this morning and then went for my usual walk to kind of meditate and reflect on the meaning of the card and what it meant for me. So let's take a look at the symbolism first. There's two cats, black and white, their tails cradling the earth. If you look closely, the black cat has white eyes and the white cat has black eyes. And pointing downwards in the center is a diamond made out of black and white halves, very much like the yin-yang symbol. So first of all, this represents to me, the duality of our three-dimensional world where things appear in duality, i.e., for example, gender, masculine, feminine, black, white, day and night. But ultimately, a greater understanding will make us realize that the one is necessary for the other to exist. So if we transcend the duality, we realize actually everything is one. There is no night without the day. A day is not possible without the night. Life is not possible without the sun, but too much sun will scorch us. Also, the same goes for joy and pain. We need both in our lives as contrast to navigate what feels good, what feels bad, and what we'd rather have. And it also brings us back to the importance of feelings. It's important to know how we feel so we can navigate, use our feelings as compass. For example, I'll bring it back to my experience. I used to actually be so familiar with pain that it was unfamiliar to feel good. That's an important point I want to make. And once you feel good, the question comes, why don't I do more things that make me feel good? Which then probably goes down a step further, and the question arises, why am I not allowing myself to feel good? Do I not feel that I deserve it? And if so, why? So feelings in this dualistic universe are an important guidance system, and we should never disregard our feelings. Whatever they are valid, and they're giving us essential information about our state of being and whatever situation we're facing. And feelings, let's say if we encounter negative feelings, then are there for us to be aware of our choice. Do I want to continue feeling like that, i.e. bad? Yes. Why? Lack of self-love, lack of self-worth? Or no? Well, let's change something. So feelings are there to guide us and to make us aware that something is off, because we're actually allowed, we deserve to feel good. If you look at the emotional scale, we see bliss, joy, gratitude on a higher frequency, and we see as you go down, There is something as, I think, peace, acceptance. Then there is the lower you go. I mean, the lowest are fear and shame and guilt. But both are necessary. Both ends of the spectrum are necessary for us to gauge and to navigate us forward. And if we are stuck in a lower vibration, we have the power to actually go up the emotional scale by choosing different thoughts that bring us, that attract higher vibrational thoughts and then change our state of being. Let's go back to justice card. Okay, so as I said, I was reflecting on the meaning of justice. And apart from this card representing this dualistic universe, the justice card also made me reflect on integrity. You know, it's a big word. You know, people tell us we need to act out of integrity, but what the hell does it mean? So I reflected on that, and it means coming from a place of coherence, inner coherence that basically transcends an inner conflict. So if you're faced with a situation and you're asked to act out of integrity, it means acting out of values that you align with. So you're not split in your energy. So you don't say something and then act otherwise, or you don't act and say one thing and then internally believe another thing. It means your actions, your thoughts, and your beliefs are aligned, and there's no split. You are unified in that sense. You come from a whole place, and this is excuse me, is really only possible once we know what our values are, and B, know what our authentic true voice is. And this, if we link it back to the previous episode where I talked about the capacity and the importance of discerning what our authentic inner voice is and what especially the voice of the critic is, it's essential so we can act out of integrity, act out of our highest good for our highest good, and by doing so, we're also actually acting for the highest good of everyone. Because if you really act out of alignment, then everyone else will benefit too, because it's your truth. So, how do we act out of integrity? We have to be able to access our inner voice. We have to be able to discern what our true voice is. And that takes practice and listening. So it's a huge aspect which I'm trying to cultivate more. Instead of just acting all the time, I used to be the kind of person who just action, one thing after the other, always feeling that I've never done enough, that there's not enough time. And I never really, a bit like on a hamster wheel, I never really paused to create space to reflect on why I was doing things, what the driving force was, and what the purpose is. So I guess it was part of acting within the matrix where you just accept beliefs that you have to do certain things, act in a certain way, and that's just the way it is, without questioning it too much. But if this question of integrity comes up, then we have to really ask ourselves, well, what does it even mean? What is important to me? What are my values? And what does it mean to act out of integrity for myself? When do I feel that I'm actually acting out of my inner true voice and out of alignment? And what does it feel when I act out of integrity, out of this unified inner coherence? Those are important questions to ask ourselves. And the Justice card also brings up this notion of karma. There is a cause and effect for everything. So, believe it or not, we are constantly creating. Whether we're conscious or not of it, we are constantly creating. Every thought creates a vibration, it attracts another thought, it creates momentum, and then we usually either speak or act out of that thought pattern. And if we ingrain it and habituate it long enough, it becomes a whole mood and a whole personality trait, and it can create our destiny. So it's kind of scary actually, because it basically means we're constantly creating our reality. We have the power, we are creators, and there's responsibility that comes with us. So what are we creating? What kind of thoughts are we thinking, and what kind of actions are then ensuing? Careful, because as the justice card also reminds us, there is a repercussion. It's just the law of the universe. Like attracts like. So if you put out a negative thought, if you focus on the negative, that will magnify, and you will eventually attract a situation that will reflect your thought. It's the way the universe works. So the more we distill and the more we become aware of this power, inherent power each one of us has, and the inherent participation each one of us plays in the 3D reality and in the world at large, it's pretty intimidating and scary. And the tendency is to abdicate that power and to blame situations, other people, anything that lies without, i.e., external to us, rather than assuming that responsibility and that inherent power we have. So yeah, acting out of integrity, it's a big topic. And just being able to discern what our true voice is. When I was deep down in depression, I was not able to access my true voice. The only voice I heard was that of the critic. And it drove me further and further down a depressive loop. Pretty much, it can get so far that if you get stuck in this negative loop, you create an intrapsychic self-destructive vortex, and it can end very, very bad. It's the intrapsychic suicidal loop, basically, when you hear nothing but this voice that's out to basically beat you up and destroy you. So discernment, as I emphasized in last video, is essential. And how do we come to discernment? It only comes through some kind of distancing of our own thought patterns. And a tool for that is meditation, because through meditation, you're encouraged to observe your thoughts, not judge them, but just observe them. And then you realize, oh, I am the consciousness observing the thought patterns, meaning you create distance between yourself, your consciousness, and your thought patterns. And you realize you disidentify from your thought patterns. So you realize, oh, there's a consciousness that is beyond my thoughts. I am more than my thoughts. It's a huge topic. Let's just narrow it down again to justice. Let's be aware that every thought attracts another thought. Let's be aware what kind of thought it is, positive or negative, and whether we want that thought, because we have a choice in what we focus on, what kind of thought we focus on. And let's be aware that there's a momentum that's created by focusing on thoughts, and that eventually a sequence of thoughts will attract a manifestation. So are we thinking the thoughts that we want to create in our reality? Are those thoughts and creations integral, i.e., do they align with our value system? If we're not sure about our value system, then let's ask ourselves, what are my values? Why are they important? They can serve as compass. If our actions and thoughts and behaviors don't align with our values, then we're out of sync. So let's be clear on our values also. So a simple card, well, it's a simple but it's a heavy card, justice card, can expand, unfold in all of these reflections. I hope something spurs your own reflection process here, and I'll leave it as that for today. And I hope that you create some space in your daily routine to observe yourself, to create some breathing space between yourself and your thoughts, so that you're able to reflect if those thoughts and if your behaviors, if your whatever you're doing in your day actually aligns with your values. And if they don't, then that creates further reflection for you. We need to self-reflect in order to become self-aware. So create some space, some breathing space, whatever that meditation practice is. It doesn't have to be sitting meditation necessarily. I used to be so hyper and on the go all the time, would never be able to sit down, but I do it now. It works. But there's also other forms of meditation, i.e. exercise, anything routine, gardening, washing the dishes, anything that kind of gets us out of our head and into a steady rhythm where we can observe and allow for reflection to happen. I encourage you to do that. And let's leave it at that for today, ¿vale? Y bueno, Owl and I say hello, and I'm always open to any comments and reflections from your part too. Mel's Magic is an organic process. I'm continuously refining my videos and my directions, and I hope to build some community and a platform for exchange, ideas, connections here. So if you have any comment on whatever I share in my videos, or if you have any idea, please comment in the comment box below. And if you, chicken out there calling, if you like my videos, I'd be super happy if you like, share, and subscribe with friends. And I'll see you for next episode 2 of season 3 of Mel's Magic. Vale? Les mando un gran abrazo. Alles Gute euch. Je vous souhaite un bon commencement, un bon début à la semaine, et on se voit bientôt. Bis. Ciao. Ciao.